What is going on, everybody? How we doing today? Hope you're doing all right. It is Wednesday, so we are streaming. And look, it's been a little crazy for me the last couple of weeks. I apologize for that. All right, my bad. Um, excuse me. Hold on one sec. You should be able to hear. Oh yeah, yeah. Nah, you can most certainly hear me right now. Um, excuse me. Holy fuck. It's been a little weird for me these last couple of weeks just because I've had some stuff going on. And that has made it hard to stream, but I am here tonight. All right. We are going to stream for probably a little bit under 2 hours because I got started a little late. I apologize for that. Again, it's been crazy for me, but hopefully next week we'll be back to the regular schedule, which is of course going to be, excuse me, which is of course going to be, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. EST, of course. Fridays at 9 p.m. EST, and then Sundays at 5 p.m. also EST. Oh, excuse me. But anyway, so yeah, as I have been a little bit discombobulated lately, the streams are going to be a little bit discombobulated, but I have a focal point for this one, and that is going to be a video by a YouTuber who I actually really like, and I respect this guy. He's got a lot more, followers and or subscribers and viewers than me, obviously. But he seems like he's on the same wavelength as me. But I'm not sure what he's going to have to say in this video specifically. It is a guy named Armchair Violence. And it's like I said, I have a certain respect for this guy because he and I feel we may have a similar brain in terms of like how we look at things and stuff like that. I've watched plenty of his videos and been like, oh yeah, I've been saying that for a long time. And then there's also videos of his where I'm like, oh, I never thought of it like that, right? And it's rare that I find a martial arts YouTuber who says things that like, make me think that way, right? It's nice. It's nice, Louis, excuse me. Excuse me. What are you doing, dummy? Ah, I dropped a fucking napkin without realizing it. My dog was chewing on it. He's a fucking asshole. He's a fucking asshole that likes to chew on things. So, there's that. Hey, out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Go. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. You see, my dog's aggressive. I love him to death, but he's aggressive. And his bites fucking hurt. And that's the thing, right? Is I could obviously beat my dog in a fight. But why would I want to fight my dog? So he tries to bite me, and it's like, what the fuck, dude? I could fuck you up, you don't even realize, Nah. Snoopy. Hold on one sec. Snoopy. Down. Sometimes I have to give him a fucking treat, and then he'll drop whatever it is he was chewing on. Oh, man. But anyway. So, yeah, there's that. There's that. Anyway. But yeah, so when it comes to martial arts, right, I'm very gatekeepy. And the reason why I'm very gatekeepy is because of the fact that most people simply cannot fucking fight. And it goes beyond just them, like, having this weird overestimation of themselves and their ability. It's straight up fucking delusion and like just incorrect. There's so many people out there who think they could win a fight when they have no idea what they're doing. Right? Maybe they got into a fight in like middle school or something like that, and they didn't get beat the fuck up. And because of that, they think that they know something and they can talk turkey with you. Or they did like boxing for 2 months back when they were 16 and now they're 33. Or some other thing. There's just some other thing that they feel gives you the ability to like talk turkey with somebody who's been doing it as long as I have. It's not rare that I will listen to somebody else. I listen to people all the time. I listen to my coach. I listen to people I see on YouTube. I listen to other coaches. I listen to other guys who have fought, etc., etc. There's so many people out there that I will listen to, but uh, there's a lot more people that I will simply not only not listen to, I will tell them to shut the fuck up, you know? Um, and it's nice to have somebody who you look to as a guy who it's like you feel like you're kind of on equal footing, but also every now and again he throws something at you that's like, oh, interesting, huh? You have an understanding of this that I don't even have, right? It's nice, you know, it's nice. Part of the reason I do karate, which I haven't been to karate in a couple of months now, I got to get back into that. I've just been busy. But like part of the reason why I did karate is because I got sick of being the most knowledgeable person in the room. And even though I'm still the best fighter in my fucking karate class, um, it's nice to not know everything. Not that I know everything there is to know about mixed martial arts and things like that, but what I mean by that is it's nice to not be the guy who is supposed to know everything, who is supposed to um, answer the questions. It's nice to be the guy who just gets to show up and listen and do what he's being told to do. It's nice to do that, right? And that's part of the reason why when I originally got into karate, I had ulterior motives for it. But I decided to stick with it is because I have a good time with it, and it's nice to have that little change of pace. The original reason I was going to do karate is because when I first started this channel, I had this idea for a video series where it would be basically kind of like Fight Quest or Human Weapon. If you watched either of those, I think each of them was from like a different channel. I think Fight Quest might have been History Channel and Human Weapon might have been Discovery Channel, or it might have been the other way around. But you had these TV series where you had a dude, he was an MMA fighter, and another dude who I'm sure he had some kind of experience. But the bottom line is they would go around and they would learn these martial arts from around the world and they would showcase them. They'd take like a week to train in them, and then they would fight somebody of that discipline at the end of the week. You know, they did a bunch of stuff. They did Muay Thai, they did Kali, even there was even a Krav Maga episode. But um, yeah, so like that was that was an idea that I had was like, oh hey, why don't I do that, but also do it with arts where you didn't see those in either of them, right? Like my Sanda video, I did a video on Sanda, which is Chinese kickboxing, and it became a video that it wasn't supposed to be. Basically, not to get too deep into the story, I showed up to what was supposed to be some nice light sparring between buddies, between a bunch of guys who just really enjoy martial arts, and they wanted to spar under the Sanda rule set. And it turned into this weird ambush thing where like fucking this one school of like really legit Sanda guys were beating the fuck out of some kung fu guys. And as soon as I saw what was going down, I wanted no part of that because I was like, why the fuck am I going to walk into an ambush? Even if I can fight, even if I could fuck these guys up, why would I willingly play along with their fucking game? No, thank you. I'm out of here. That's what that video ended up becoming. And I talked a little bit about it and, what happened and everything like that. That video originally was supposed to be me talking about Sanda and being like, oh, hey, so this is the history of Sanda. It was created by the Chinese military when they realized that Wing Chun and, Tai Chi and other forms of Kung Fu may not exactly be the best for winning an actual fight. And, it grew from there. Here I am, partaking in Sanda. Oh, excuse me. Anyway, yeah, I'm kind of waffling here. I apologize for that. I'm kind of beat up this week. Like I said, I've had a lot going on, and because of that, I'm a little bit messed up. But the reason why I started karate was because I was going to train a little bit in karate, and then I was going to enter a tournament of some kind, preferably like a knockdown tournament. I don't think I would have wanted to do point sparring karate shit. I'm all set. But after I decided to trash that video, after I decided that not to trash the video, I got to get my shit together. I apologize, guys. Basically, after I decided to trash that series because it just was not going to work out the way that I wanted it to, I decided to stick with karate, and since then I've been doing it, you know. So there's that. There's that. What's going on, Kian? How have you been, man? I don't give fighting advice other than on the psychology of what it's like to have to fight people trying to kill you and how brutal and personal it was. I'm no expert. This is on point. Yeah, fucking. You know, a lot of people think it's John Wick, but it's not. You know, like John. Even a trained person is not gonna look like John Wick fighting. You know, even somebody who's untrained, if they don't want to get put in a rear naked choke, they're going to fight really, really fucking hard. And because of that, there's a really good chance you're going to have a pretty damn hard time putting them in that choke. And it's not going to be as clean as a John Wick thing. Armbar, same thing. You're going to try and hit an armbar. He's going to struggle and fight and fight and fight. And there's a chance he might end up slipping out. And it's not that he knows how to armbar escape. It's just that you didn't anticipate, or you underestimated his ability to keep thrashing and just being trouble, being annoying. And because of that, he was able to slip out, right? There's so many things that can go wrong in a fight. And I don't just mean that in the like, oh, dude, you could get hurt. I mean, like, you could think, oh, dude, I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for this long. Dude, I could fucking kill somebody, bro. It'd totally work. And then you get into a fight with some dude who really doesn't want to get killed. And you realize, oh, this ain't as easy as I thought it was, you know? There was this 4chan thing from years ago. I see this is one of the like staples of true crime YouTubers. Every time I find a new true crime YouTuber that I'm watching, they always talk about this case. There was a case of like a dude who strangled a woman and posted about it on 4chan. And like what always sticks with me is the guy, of course, he's being a fucking edgelord here, but he says like, turns out it's harder to strangle someone than like I thought, or than it seems like it is, or something like that. You know, he may have even mentioned something about movies. And then in addition to that, another thing that sticks with me is the fact that he said she fought so damn hard, and this is like a man doing it to a woman. You know, like people don't want to die. You know, people don't want to fucking die. Because of that, you try and kill them. You got a fight on your hands, bottom line, you know? Hope you're okay, but you're on point about people talking about fighting when they don't know or can't fight anymore. Take care, man. Peace out, Kian. Fuck him. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope I'll hear from you again soon. Ayagador says, I'm a master tickler and can train anyone to defend themselves that way. Yes. That's the one exception to the rule. Anyway, user one says, if I get banned from one more YouTube chat, I'm building a list 1A 4L. A list of what? A grocery list, sir? Is it a grocery list? My teeth shattered by just clenching them so hard trying to get on point when I am passing blood and having multiple fractures and dislocations. It's brutal, man. Damn, man. Fucking, I don't know if you're talking about right now, or if you're talking about when you had to fight somebody who, you know, was trying to kill you. But either way, that's fucking intense, dude. Jeez. Hope you're all right. You know. Fuck, man. That shit's wild. But so we're going to look at a couple of videos today, all right? Because I just happened to stumble upon this video. It's a little under 3 minutes, right? And I'm curious about what it is. I'm a little bit curious, okay? This says, oh, during the fight. Okay, all right. Well, it's good to know that's not currently happening to you. It's good to know that's not right this second. You know, I'm happy to hear that one. Excuse me. Lore accurate kung fu is what this says. So I don't know what the hell this is. I just happened to see it, and I'm curious about it, right? So this says, so some context, obviously. I'll go ahead and I'll... Okay. I have a background in wushu, kung fu. So when I got my hands on a sparring safe Dao, I joined a Messer tournament to use it, but... Back in 2019, 2020, I won't derail the stream anymore. Nah, dude, you're not derailing the stream. You know, fucking, we're having a conversation, sir. It's a conversation. Excuse me. All right, so this is I figured it was just gonna straight up be like, you know, fucking this, but hi, weird question, but I have a custom Castile Chinese Dao made with the Castile Messer blade. I'm wondering if I would be allowed to use that Messer in a Messer tournament. I'm not sure how you could do a faithful Messer fight without a Nagel. I don't know what the fuck any of this is. I know a Messer is a, I believe it's a, not French, German sword, but I could be wrong about that one. I do know it's a sword. I have no clue what a Nagel is. It sounds like a racial slur, but I don't think a Dao would be acceptable. Our tournament does allow loaner equipment, though, so if you can borrow a Messer, you should be good. Okay, all right, so... Okay, so I don't know what... you see this guy's not doing a good job, because, like, I saw what looked like a fight between two kung fu guys, and I was like, oh fuck, let's take a chance. Fuck it. Let's see what happens. Let's take a chance. This is at a baseball facility. I know it's a baseball facility because I've seen a million baseball facilities from back when I was playing, and they all look exactly the same. You could tell me this took place in my hometown and I would believe you. I know it's not, but anyway, yeah, so I don't know which one is the Messer and which one is the Dao, you know, but I guess we'll see. Oh, okay. So yeah. I love the little flare. So yeah, he's got that sort of very circular motion of how, you know, you would swing what he's talking about. Now a Dao is usually like to my understanding, it's usually like a slashing type of blade. So it makes sense the way this guy's swinging it, you know? See, he's just like look at the flowy way he moves after he gets a hit. It's just so fucking weird. I mean, it is interesting to see a little bit, right? But sounds like you lost the mandate of heaven. I'm just curious. Yeah, so this is just a sword fight without any actual context. He gave some context about how he entered the tournament, but he doesn't give context about like what makes this so special. He's using what is a Chinese sort of strategy or Chinese methodology in order to win this, which is actually pretty interesting. And that's cool, right? That's really cool. I will say that if this is some kind of like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. It says lore and accurate kung fu right here. I don't necessarily think this is like a Kung Fu Works type of video. I don't think that's what this is. I think this guy is just having fun. I just happened to see it and I assumed that it was one of those Kung Fu Works types of videos, and I kind of went into it with the overall point that I was gonna make, assuming he did as well as he seems to be doing, being that like, yeah, if you're swinging a sword at someone, you have a pretty good chance of killing them, even if they also have a sword, you know? I think what probably happened is these guys, you know, the ops of our boy here, our boy's ops, which makes them our ops too, they are probably not used to such weird, they're just not used to such weird movements. They're not used to that methodology, and because of that, it's very unorthodox. And you know, it's working. It's working very well. When it comes down to it, I don't know if you would have used a Messer with any kind of armor or anything like that. If you did, then it would have rendered what this guy is doing pretty not inaccurate, but pretty ineffective ineffective. And the reason being that if you try to slash through plate armor or even chainmail, it's not going to work the way you want it to, right? But overall, this is very interesting, you know, and I think it shows that there is something to be said about like the kung fu methodology when it comes to certain weapons and things like that, like swords. You know, I do think if there was going to be anything that was accurate about kung fu in terms of like having the ability to fight with it, it would be with swords, because it's kind of hard to not be a like it's hard to not be effective with a bladed weapon. It's hard to not be effective with any kind of weapon that you have. And this is a big issue that a lot of martial arts come into when it comes to weapons and things like that, like Kali. Kali is something that could easily be countered by somebody who has zero experience and is just really fucking aggressive and swings their stick really damn hard, you know? Am I saying that Kali guys absolutely positively cannot fight at all? No. You have like Dog Brothers FMA and stuff like that, but you have the Doug Marqueta types who like they don't spar, right? I'd be very surprised if Doug Marqueta sparred, but you know, they think that like swinging a fucking scarf is gonna be a good way to like fight somebody if all you had was a scarf instead of just punching them in the head repeatedly. Swing a scarf at them, yeah, right? It's just it's bad, but this is something that, yeah, I mean, I think you might be able to make this work against somebody who is just really aggressive with a fucking you know, with their own sword or something like that. You might be able to make it work. You might be able to make it work, you know. Damn, this music's sick. You should make it your new intro. Oh. That's you're right, it is kind of sick. You know, I do like Asian inspired beats, dude. What the hell is with this chick? Does she have her hand in her pants? You guys are seeing this, right? You guys are seeing this, right? Man, this is exactly what I expect a HEMA tournament to look like, though. Like this guy could be the face of HEMA, you know. This dude right here. Anyway, yeah, I like Asian inspired beats. They're pretty cool. You know, I think there's a certain epicness. There's a certain epic sauce. There's a certain epic sauce when it comes to Asian beats. No, I do like them though, you know. Mission ONA says too Asian, not Asian enough, not Asian enough. Mandate of Heaven, that a Might and Magic 6 reference, Dao Jiao stuff. You see, like when it comes to the Mandate of Heaven, I know that's kind of like a Chinese saying, but I wasn't 100% sure of like what, you know, where it came from. I was pretty sure it had something to do with like their emperor or some shit, but I wasn't sure if it came from anywhere else. Low Kick 22 says, "Hey Scott, I trained Sanda tonight for the first time. It was really fun. IMO, the only Chinese martial art worth a shit. Martial art worth a shit. What do you think?" Yeah. I mean, there's other forms of Chinese martial art that are worth it, like Shuai Jiao and stuff like that. That's a jacket wrestling style. But overall, when it comes to the most combat effective martial art, I think Sanda is probably that, specifically because it borrows from Shuai Jiao, right? And you can talk about like little things like Ramsey Dewey, right? I like Ramsey Dewey. And I know he knows what he means when he says things like this, but every now and again he shills for Tai Chi just a little bit because he was able to find a couple of things from Tai Chi that work okay for him when he is sparring and stuff like that. You know, one of them is the golf club swing, right? Where like if somebody throws a teep at you, right, and you catch it, so you know their foot is here, you go one under, one over. You can go in a circular fashion. You can do that, and there's a good chance the person will be taken down. And here's something else about that. If you go down, around, and up, if you lift, it treetops them, so they end up airborne and they slam onto the ground, right? Like that's really cool. And that's something Ramsey Dewey learned from Tai Chi, but overall, Tai Chi is not combat effective. That just is the way that it is, right? So Sanda being something that was specifically designed because Tai Chi and Wing Chun and Choi Li Foot and all these other forms of Chinese martial arts were failing. Yeah, it's going to be one of the best. It's probably the best. I wish I could do Sanda. And I am now just remembering that somebody I spoke to from Boston said that there was a place in Maryland that does Sanda that he knows of. And I think I might have to try and check that out next time I'm down there. I'm probably going to go back to Maryland at some point because I have family that's down there now. That's why I go down there. And maybe if I'm down there, especially if I'm down there for an extended period, I might have to check that out. But I like Sanda, right? Because it is a little bit different from a lot of other forms of kickboxing that you see in a couple of different ways. And I think it's probably one of the best things that you could do for MMA nowadays. And it's kind of a shame that it's not more widespread than it is. We have so many Chinese people who go from wherever they're from in China all the way over to here. You would think that like there would be more of them, especially in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is There's a lot of Chinese people who moved to Mass, and California and New York. You would think there'd be more Sanda places around, but there's just not, to my understanding, it's actually not that popular in China, which is, kind of funny because they're very nationalistic. But it's the best for MMA because it teaches you a lot of the stuff that you need for MMA. The way that they throw their punches and kicks are a little bit less committed. And even though that kind of sucks in some ways, that is how a lot of people throw their punches and kicks today. They throw snappy kicks that aren't really designed to damage somebody. It's more just to try and mix up the look that they're giving. They throw hand combinations that they're not completely and totally sat down on, and because of that, they're not as powerful. It's more about speed and volume and things like that. But then, in addition to that, you also have takedowns off of strikes and just takedowns in general. You have the blast double in Sanda. And that's something you don't have in Muay Thai. In Muay Thai, you have upright wrestling, but you're not allowed to change a level and pick him up and drop him on his ass, or his head in this case. You're not allowed to do stuff like that. It's just not allowed in the rule set. Sanda is the one combat sport that allows you to go from standing to you not necessarily on the ground, right? Because it's not like there's any grappling, but you're allowed to take people down, bottom line, in like the purest way possible. Just shooting in for a double leg, shooting in for a single leg, catching a leg and fucking, tripping, sweeping, stuff like that. It's all legal. It's all legal. And because of that, I find it to be very interesting, and I would love to be able to formally train it, Just got here. We're talking Chinese people. Yes, sir. We're talking about our favorite Chinese people is what we're doing. Scott is so skilled he could probably incorporate firearms into his martial arts as per Blood Games. Yes, sir. I was trained by Xavier Ravenblood. Anyway, yeah, so that video wasn't a complete bust. I got to talk about it a little bit. But we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna look up Armchair violence trans. Yeah, so oh man. If you search Armchair violence, my shit pops up. That's funny. A whopping 19 viewers. Whoa, dude, I'm doing so great. I'm doing so great lately, bro. Anyway, yeah, so sorry, one sec. What am I doing? This right here, okay, it shows that I watched a little bit of the video. Apparently I watched just over a minute. And when I saw this, right, I decided, okay, you know what? I think I'd rather react to this on video because he said something right out the gate, and I want to see what he has to say for the rest of it. Okay, right away, I forget the name of the person on the right. Okay, but it's one of the more recent trans MMA fighters. I think there's been like only 2 of them. And then the one on the left is actually not a man. That's Lucia Riker, and I don't know if he's going to talk about what happened with her. in this video, but if he doesn't, I will. We'll talk about Lucia Riker after this video. But with that said, let's go ahead. Okay, so this is a 3-year-old video, by the way. I'm not trying to be the guy who like is talking about like dude, like this is a hot button issue today. I just saw a video and I was like, screw it. I think I'll talk about it on stream. All right. But yeah, this is Armchair Violence. I really like this guy. Yeah, I've actually been thinking about like trying to ask him to stream or something like that, or collab in some way, because he seems like a chill dude. He answered me when I DM'd him about something. Oh yeah, I sent him a video of mine actually, and I'd love to pick this guy's brain. But like, I will be being honest about anything he says in here that I either don't agree with or I just don't think is factually correct. But with that said, let's go.
Every time a trans woman has an MMA fight, everyone gets angry. LGBT activists are on one side of the discussion, and anyone that knows anything about combat sports are usually on the other side.
So fairness is the inclusion of trans women.
It is as much cheating as taking steroids when the other person doesn't, maybe even more so.
A lot of people instinctively feel like trans women shouldn't be allowed to fight cis women, but they can't explain why. The conversation...
See, and that right there, it's like, no, people can't explain why, and I'll explain why right away. At the end of the day, men and women are different biologically, and I'm sure he's going to touch upon this, but it was just weird to me, like right from the get-go. It's like, no, like people have been explaining why ever since it first happened. That just is what it is, But whatever. That's such a small thing. I'm not going to harp on it for too long.
Usually focuses around an athlete's current testosterone levels. While that might seem intuitive, it's extremely misleading. An athlete's current testosterone levels do not matter in this discussion. We all know that testosterone plays important roles in muscle hypertrophy, bone mass, and general differences between men and women. However, it's more about what your testosterone level was throughout your life than what it is right now. For example, if I injected myself with super physiological amounts of testosterone, I would probably be able to pack on a lot more muscle. When a muscle cell grows larger, it needs more nuclei to function properly. So some of the cell's energy goes towards creating more nuclei. However, once these nuclei are created, they never go away. You might have heard that it's easier for a former athlete to get back in shape than it is for somebody to get in shape for the first time, and a buildup of myonuclei is one of the reasons why. A lot of testosterone would help me gain more muscle, but once I'm back to a normal T level, I'll still be able to gain and keep more muscle than if I had never taken extra T at all. When a trans woman cuts her T levels, the muscle built up over the years doesn't simply go away. There are permanent physiological changes that allow her to reach levels of fitness that she would never have been able to achieve if she had been born a cis woman.
So when you go down to...
Okay, so I took a while because I wanted to see if he had more to say. I just wanted to make sure of what was yeah, I just wanted to make sure of what he was saying, because I was wondering if he was going to end up like providing some kind of a source or something like that. And believe me, I'm not sitting here like source. He's correct about what he's saying physiologically. However, testosterone does have an effect on more than just how much muscle you have and things like that. Obviously, it plays a huge part in muscle development, bone density, et cetera, et cetera. But the current testosterone levels of an athlete do matter, which is why one of the ways that people will tell if you're juicing is through elevated testosterone levels. These things are not just a side effect of somebody using some kind of banned substance or something like that. They take these things specifically because they raise testosterone levels, because testosterone helps with working out and it helps with other physical activity. In addition to that, it also helps with the mental side of things. A man is typically going to be a little bit better under pressure than a woman when it comes to a situation like a fight or something like that. And that's specifically because testosterone allows them to snap into action. And you see example after example after example of women failing in, say, the military and other things, not just physically, but specifically mentally. It even happened to me yesterday, right? I was driving to work and there was a car that slid off the road and it was like deep into the ravine. And I was nervous because I saw a dude sitting in the car and I thought maybe he was knocked out. Without thinking, I pull over and I'm hopping out the car, running over, thinking I'm gonna have to pull this dude out of the fucking car. You know, I cut my little finger. I cut my little finger because there was a thorn bush, guys. I'm wounded. I'm wounded because of it. This woman who apparently was a trauma nurse, she hops out of her car like 10 to 20 seconds after me. She starts walking down and she's like, "Hey, I'm a trauma nurse. I figured I'd stop. Is everything okay?" Now, by this time, I had already made contact with the guy who was in the car. He was perfectly fine. He even threw on his hazards, which is fucking hilarious because he's like 10 feet away from the road. Nobody's even gonna come close to crashing into you, dude. He just said, "Oh, it's cold out. I'm waiting for my insurance to like send a fucking tow truck or something like that." That's basically what he said. This woman ends up asking me if I called 911. I said, "No, not yet." And she's like, "You didn't call 911?" She kind of gives me a little bit of shit. And the reason why this is so significant is because it just shows you the difference between testosterone and estrogen. Testosterone says, "No, I'm going to pull this guy out of the car if I have to, because I don't know what the hell the deal is. He could either be knocked out, he could have something else wrong with him." I saw a video a long time ago where a guy had a stroke behind the wheel and he was like spinning out because the side that had the stroke was paralyzed and it just happened to be the side that had the fucking gas on the pedal, right? The foot on the gas, right? Whatever was wrong with this guy, my first thought was, I'm going to reach in, grab him, pull him out if I have to. This woman, her first thought was, let's call somebody else. Let's call somebody else to do this. It's something that is proven. I don't have a source for you, all right? I don't have a source for you right this second. And the reason why I'm not sitting here citing this claim is because it's something that we all empirically know is true in the first place. But then in addition to that, like, you can just look to the UFC, you can look to the military, you can look to all of these examples of empirical evidence and even scientific, if you want to call it that, evidence that is based off of certain, or I wouldn't call it scientific, but just evidence based off of the understandings of certain things, like testing for elevated testosterone levels in the UFC in the first place, right? So yeah, it was just, you know, fucking, it was just it was a strange thing. So yes, like at the end of the day, he's correct about that, but he's also incorrect, and I think it's important to explain that piece. I don't know why he would leave that out, but, you know, it is what it is. Hi Ecuador says, Scott just reached in and started tickling. You know me too well. You know me too well, Hi Ecuador.
your testosterone total, it's 21.
So what's the normal range?
Your normal optimal level is 700 at least 700.
Activists also argue that while men have greater bone mass than women, testosterone plays an important role in allowing them to gain that bone mass, and that if you nuke a man's testosterone level, his bone mass will likely come down as well. This argument is correct, but there's an important caveat here. When trans women transition, they don't just suppress their T levels. They also take supplemental estrogen. And do you know what estrogen does? It maintains bone mass. It seems highly unlikely that a trans woman would lose significant amounts of bone mass when they're taking large amounts of a hormone that's crucial in maintaining it. Interestingly, the most important thing to know about testosterone's relationship to athleticism is that it has no relationship to athleticism. When you compare...
Again, it's just not true, you know? And like, it's funny because, like, I can see where he's building to. I can see where this dude is trying to go with it. I have a feeling at the end of it, he's probably going to say, look, like, you know, maybe trans MMA fighters shouldn't be fighting women. You know, maybe that's how it should go. That's probably what he's building to with this, but it's just, I don't know. There's just something about it that feels like he wants to be different from everybody else in his explanation and try and give an explanation that's going to make the trans crowd, the LG whatever crowd happy, and there's really no point to it. There's just it's a pointless endeavor, because unless you give them what they want, they're never going to leave you alone in the first place, right? But again, we already talked about it, right? Testosterone is what allows men to operate under pressure, right? If you have low T, you're going to have a harder time operating under pressure in an effective way. You're going to be more prone to just breaking down. And it's funny because, like, I've talked a couple of times about, like, what women are good at, right? And one of the things that women physiologically are actually better for than men is being fighter pilots, right? When it comes to being fighter pilots, they are better physiologically because the shape of their body is better for handling G-force. And that's the only way they're better for being fighter pilots, though. That's literally it. It's just that, and that's it. In every other mark, in every other way, they are absolutely positively not predisposed or even markedly better than men on average at being fighter pilots. And again, it all just comes down to the fact that they are not built for that. They don't have the same stuff going on inside of them as we do us. And I'm not saying that I'd be Mr. Ace, right? That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that on average, right, women are just not going to be built for that kind of thing, right? And focusing specifically on physiological differences of testosterone and estrogen and all this stuff is just it just feels weird. I'm not saying it's like bad or anything like that. He's just taking a certain way, he's taking a certain path, but it's just a little bit strange, and again, it just feels like he's trying his hardest to appease people while also saying, hey, no, it's like trying to tell Mao Zedong no. You could do it, but you gotta do it real careful. Because if you don't do it careful enough, you might end up fucking gulagged.
Men with men or women with women, you find virtually no correlation between testosterone and athletic accomplishments, and even trans activists admit this. This means the man with naturally high testosterone levels is not necessarily a better athlete than a man with naturally low testosterone levels.
They found in this elite set of male athletes, some men below the women's average for testosterone were competing at no competitive disadvantage with men that had 40 times as much testosterone.
However, when you compare men with women, you find massive differences. This is because testosterone levels mainly matter when they lead to androgenization. Androgenization is when someone acquires many of the secondary sex characteristics that we associate with masculinity. Cis women typically have T levels that don't androgenize them, and cis men typically have T levels that do. Even a man at the bottom of the reference range still has testosterone levels several times that of a woman at the top of the reference range. You're probably familiar with androgenization as male puberty, but there are other forms of it as well. For example, when female bodybuilders abuse steroids, they can often undergo viralization, which is just androgenization in cis women because of a hormone imbalance. They get a deep voice, facial hair, and a lot of other masculine traits that they often don't want.
There was unrelated, but like there was this chick, right? She was a porn star, and basically because she was a porn star, she got a fight in Bellator. Like because Bellator would do that every now and again. They'd have like freak show fights, and they were like, haha, let's have a porn star make her pro debut for the organization, and it'll be fucking like, it'll make headlines. And sure enough, it did. And after that, I decided I wanted to interview this chick because I had another YouTube channel at the time, and I wanted to pick the brain of a porn star, if you will, figure out like why, why. And it's funny because like back when I originally spoke to her, this is like 2019 or so, and she was still very, very feminine. Right, she's from New York, so she had that kind of like a northeastern New Yorker, even like Massachusetts type of thing going on, where like if you were from here, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about. The oh my god, dude, oh my god, what the fuck, dude, hey, you going to the store? Get me some fucking Newports. She had that kind of thing going on, right? But she was still very feminine, like very, very feminine. Like I kind of kept an eye on her over the years, right? She stopped doing porn. But she also clearly started doing steroids, and it's so funny to see how her body has changed, and then also like her voice has changed. You know, it's insane to hear how like she sounds like fucking she sounds like she's been smoking Newports. You know, she used to have like a decently feminine voice, right? She used to have a decently feminine voice. You know, and then out of nowhere she's talking like this. Hey, give me the Newport. Oh. Oh, fuck. Excuse me. Damn. Can't do my Newport's voice anymore. Anyway, what's going on, Richie? How you doing, man? Fuck him. Anyway, it's just funny to see how that works. Or there's this girl that I used to train with, crazy talented at jiu-jitsu, like crazy talented. And she was a world champion when I knew her, but it was an under 18 world champion. So you know, it's an accomplishment, but I mean it's under 18, you know. The competition below the age of 18 is not the same as the competition 18 plus. But anyway, she decided she wanted to pursue jiu-jitsu full time, so she moved down south, and it's very, very clear that she started taking steroids. Like she does not like she doesn't look like she used to, you know. And I'm curious how her voice sounds now, because she was kind of a masculine chick to begin with, you know, kind of broad-shouldered, very, very small, but like big hands, big feet, you know. I'm curious what she's like now. I'm curious if she sounds like fucking Vanderlei Silva.
Important to know about androgenization/viralization is that it's a one-way trip. When a woman starts getting a deep voice and facial hair, there is no way to hormonally undo that. Stopping the steroid use will halt the progress, but it won't reverse it. Think of testosterone like super soldier serum. It's been 80 years since Captain America became a super soldier, and whatever serum was left in his bloodstream was probably metabolized out years ago. Does that mean he can compete in combat sports? Of course not, because he's undergone the super soldier equivalent of androgenization, and those changes don't go away when he stops taking serum. The athletic differences we see between men and women are largely the result of irreversible androgenization during puberty. To understand how significant these changes are, let's take a look at just a few of the differences between men and women. On average, men have thicker bones, a higher center of mass, larger rib cages, larger hearts that pump more blood, higher hemoglobin levels, higher VO2 max, stronger tendons and ligaments, a larger and thicker skull, especially at the mandible, zygomatic arch, and brow. A lower Q angle, literally thicker skin, better motor unit recruitment, and faster and more consistent reaction times. This is not anywhere near an exhaustive list. It's merely an example of some of the differences that are present when adjusted for size, less likely to be affected by T levels, and are likely to create a significant advantage in combat sports. And I didn't even begin to cover the differences in muscle mass and strength, which are both significant and weirdly specific to fighting. And these differences lead to the next common argument, which is the idea that physical differences between trans women and cis women shouldn't matter because everyone is physically different. Now, it is true that some people are going to have athletic advantages that others don't possess. There are cis women who might have reaction times, VO2 max, or ligament strength higher than normal, or even within a male.
It's hard to find a place to pause because this dude's videos are so like streamlined. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I haven't watched this video. This is the first time I've watched the video, and it's definitely clear that he's making his way towards what is going to be a form of acceptable, an acceptable thought, right? And when I say acceptable, I don't mean like the correct. I mean like something that is acceptable to me, right? I just found it to be very interesting, and I wanted to talk about that, and I wanted to see where he ended up going with the video. Because it was just strange to me that he would deny that testosterone actually plays a part in the here and now. It definitely plays a part in the here and now. Somebody with less testosterone is not going to be throwing themselves into a burning building to try and pull somebody out of a fucking like out of the building. They're not gonna hop out the car ready to pull somebody out of a fucking car, right? Referring to what I was talking about with that situation yesterday. They're going to be the trauma nurse, the woman who is actually supposed to be trained in what to do in a situation where somebody is like seriously hurt, instead of being the one who's going to be like, okay, like we got to get him away from the car because fucking what if the thing explodes or something like that? What if there's some kind of issue with the car? Instead of thinking that way, she's going to be the one who's like, oh, call somebody, call somebody. Oh my gosh, call somebody. What the hell, you know? It's just like, men do things, women look for men to do things for them. It's just a fact of life. And I just it bothered me a little bit, right? It bothered me a little bit. And I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit, you know. Like I said, these streams, I'm trying to make sure that I don't fall out of the Wednesday stream. And the Wednesday stream you know, the Wednesday stream habit. The Wednesday stream habit. And yeah, I figured that would be something to talk about. Anyway, hold on one sec. I just got to check something. Oh, okay, geez. All right, that's a little bit better. I need a man to open my pickle jar. I'll be that man. I'll be that man. Honestly, I really liked the iDubbbz video on like women in the Olympics. It was very interesting. Why? What did he talk about in that video, Chris 10? My boy just got on T. They said he had the T of 2 women. Damn, at least it's 2 women and not 1. You know? Does that mean he had a 3-way? Damn, that's pretty crazy. Fucking good for him for being able to get on T though. You know, me like. I've thought about doing like a cycle just cuz, but I don't know, like people think I'm on fucking steroids because I'm going bald and I have a deep voice. If people think I'm on tren or like whatever, if people think I'm doing testosterone replacement therapy as is, I don't think I need more T. I think I'm good where I'm at. I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. I'm all good, you know. Literally, people like maybe people are just so devoid of testosterone nowadays that when a dude ages normally, granted 30 isn't like that old, but you know when somebody doesn't stay looking like they're 17 for the rest of their life, people assume that it's like a fucking like a steroids thing, you know. I think somebody on I was on this chick's stream a while ago. Her name was Cute Bot, I'm pretty sure. She was pretty cute, but I think somebody in the chat said that I probably am on steroids, and I think she asked like, "Are you on steroids?" You know. But yeah, like I think we just live in such a feminized culture, and we don't realize it. You know, we obviously realize that women are women, right? But we don't realize that a lot of men are women too. And I obviously don't mean that in like the trans way, but like they're just to use Zoomer language, they're woman coded. And because of that, they are you know, they're very obsessed with how they look and how other people look and stuff like that. You know, being obsessed with looks, even if you're an incel, is like that's a very female thing to do, you know. I've never seen another man and been like, oh, he's a handsome guy, or oh, he's got hunter eyes, he's got a negative canal tilt, whatever that even fucking means, whatever that shit even fucking means, you know. What does a negative? In fact, you know what? Or is it canal or cantle? Negative. I'll try cantle first. Canthal. Yeah, what the fuck? A negative, hold on. A negative canthal tilt is a feature where the outer corner of the eye is positioned lower than the inner corner, creating a slight downward angle. This characteristic can vary among individuals and is influenced by factors such as genetics, aging, and certain medical conditions. While traditionally a positive canthal tilt, where the outer corner is higher, often is associated with more youthful and energetic appearance, a negative canthal tilt is can also have its unique appeal. Yeah, that's a very female thing as a guy to be like, oh, there's like obsessed with looks in that way. Like looks are something that you're meant to understand on an instinctual level, right? You're not meant to be mulling over someone's features looking for like a checklist of things. That's not what you're meant to be doing. Fucking you're supposed to be able to look at someone and judge their character based off of how they look, right? And that sounds crazy. That sounds crazy when you say it, right? Because I mean, after all, like just because someone has a negative canthal tilt, it doesn't mean they're gonna steal from you or something like that. But when I say this, I don't even 100% mean things that are like immutable, right? It's more about like the look in their eyes, the way they carry themselves, the way they stand, right? The way they hold their hands and all that other stuff. Like that is what we are meant to be like doing with looks, is like being able to look at someone without being like, oh, their ear swirls this way, that means this. You shouldn't be doing that as a man. You know, you should be looking at someone and being like, ah, those are fucking alligator eyes. Like, interesting. The way, that guy stands like he's hiding something. That guy looks around like he's looking for somebody to victimize. I'm gonna have to look out for that guy. That's what you should be doing as a man. You know, what's going on, gay guy? How you doing, man? How you doing? Coming into canthal tilt discussion is wild. Yeah. Fuck him. I got one checklist. Being sexy. Check that shit right off for me, boy. But yeah, sorry if this is like a weird hodgepodge of shit. Not that I'm always like, you know, going from thing to thing to thing to thing, right? Like back to back to back. It's like I said, I needed to stream tonight because I don't want to fall out of... I feel bad when I fall out of routine, right? If I fall out of routine, I feel like a piece of shit. And I didn't want to do that for 2 weeks in a row. So I was like, fuck it. I don't know what's going to come of this. I don't know what the hell is going to happen. Excuse me. Excuse me again. I have no clue what's going to happen. I'm just going to hop on and we'll fucking do something, dude. You know? Hence why fucking I pulled this guy's video up just to basically say, oh yeah, I think I know where he's going and I probably agree. And I just, you know, I just didn't like this one thing. It is what it is. Anyway, there was a couple of things that I wanted to take a look at though, right? A couple of things. Excuse me. Oh, fuck, dude. What the hell is going on here, dude? Fuck. Oh, yeah. Yes. Sorry, I gotta upload something, right? Because I want to talk about something that like really bothers the fuck out of me. These last 2 weeks, I kept seeing things that I was like, oh, dude, I should totally talk about this on stream, and then, fuck, you know. All right. Yeah, what the fuck is up with this trans MMA fighter thing? LOL, I haven't seen this. Well, I mean, there's been a couple of trans MMA fighters over the years, right? And you know, that is what it is. Of course, it's like failed. It's like people who could not have hacked it for real. You know, one of them was like an ex-Navy SEAL, which is like bullshit. You know, it's that means literally nothing in terms of like MMA fighting and stuff like that. I don't give a fuck, you know. And no, I don't even think that it was Navy SEAL. I think it was like just in the Navy, which, all right, cool, congratulations, you know. But yeah, it was like Fallon Fox, and then there was this other person who, you know, fucking like whatever, you know. But of course, when they end up in MMA fights with women, that's gonna make the news. That's just the way that it is. And yeah, so there's that. People start talking about it. You know, they talk about the not efficacy, but the ethics of having a trans MMA fighter fight a woman, and obviously it's an extremely unethical thing. It's also something that like I'm not gonna hold like I'll be honest with you, when it comes to women's sports, that's not the hill that I'm willing to die on, and there's a major reason for that. If you rewind about 10 years, right, 11 years at this point, right, or even longer than that, women were leading the charge on all the bullshit that led us to where we were at today. And in many ways, women still lead the charge for a lot of different things. And a lot of these women who are now coming out because trans women are invading their spaces, they were the ones who were saying that women should be allowed to invade men's spaces years and years ago. And because of that, video games fucking suck. Comics, not that I'm a comic guy, but comics suck apparently. There's a lot of things that fucking suck, and it's because left-wing women, and just women in general, because, you know, left wing, right wing, they're all women, and they'll stick up for each other before they stick up for what's right. It's just a fact of the matter. Fucking, they decided that they wanted to have everything that we had, but also still have the fucking still have everything they have. So there can be women's only spaces, but the second there's a space that's dominated by males, not even on purpose, just by accident, because women don't give a fuck about Warhammer 40K, for instance, they're going to inject themselves into those spaces specifically just so they can ruin them. Literally, that's it. That's all it is. That's all it is, you know? And yeah, so when it comes to women's sports, like, yeah, do I think trans women should be competing in cis women's sports, if you want to call it that? No, of course not. That's fucking preposterous. But also, fucking whatever. Who cares? Not me. I don't care that much, because it's like I said, you know. Let's rewind 10 years and see how these women who are pissed off now felt when when all that other shit was going down, you know. Let's see how those women felt about the Me Too movement, right? Scott, you know, the type of guy who does 6 months of recreational combat sport training and then immediately wants to fight everyone weaker than him. What's the best word to describe that kind of guy? Fucking, I don't know. There's a lot of words that I could use to describe that guy. There probably should be a word for that guy. There probably should be a word for that guy. I don't know. You know, the only words that I could think of are like words that would get me demonetized or kicked off YouTube. So, you know, I'll keep those ones to myself. But anyway. So this is an interesting little thing. This is from calfkicker.com. Martial arts instructor sentenced to community service after KOing burglar. Okay. So we're going to talk about this, right? A martial arts instructor in Ghent faced legal consequences after an altercation with a burglar, highlighting the complexities of self-defense and the law. The Ghent Correctional Court handed down a sentence of 80 hours community service and a $430 suspended fine, sparking discussion about proportional response in such situations. And we're going to talk a little bit more about it, right? We're going to read more and we're going to talk about it. But this is such a fucking loaded term, right? This is such a loaded term, and everybody knows that it's a loaded term. And this is evil speech. This is evil speak, right? And don't get me wrong, you know, I'm a free speech absolutist. You should be able to say what you want when you want, blah, 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 whatever, fine. But this is lies, what you're seeing right now. There's no such thing as proportional response in those situations. I could understand if you wanted to use that to describe something like, oh, you knock the guy out and then you start slamming him with a metal chair when he's knocked out. That's one thing. That's one thing, right? But the way that it's being used now is just fucking ridiculous when it comes to people talking about what the proportional response to somebody who is burglarizing a house would be, right? Like, the second you're in the act of committing a crime and you get caught, like, whatever happens to you is what happens. Fucking, we're not the police here. The police have rules of engagement. People should not have rules of engagement. And I'm not saying that, like, it's a good thing if somebody gets shot over a fucking, like, bike or you know, fucking of whatever they're stealing from, like, a CVS or something like that. That's not what I'm saying. But the thing is, most people are not going to be shooting over something like that, right? Believe it or not, the Wild West, which is a place that was known for being a gunslinging place, even though gun control was born in the Wild West, mind you, but you know, that's a different conversation altogether. The Wild West was known for its, like, gunslingers and stuff like that, but that was mostly fiction. Due to the fact that at the end of the day, nobody tells stories about the time where people woke up, got together, had a good time, and then went home and went to bed, right? Those don't make for good stories. I could tell you what I did today. It wouldn't make a good story. You wouldn't find it captivating. You guys would be like, all right, cool, whatever, fucking. However, if I got into a gunfight today, you'd probably want to hear about that. You'd probably want to hear about it. You'd probably tell your friends. Your friends might even tell their friends, depending on how crazy the story is, right? And before you know it, 50 to 70 years from now, they're calling me Wild Scott, right? They're calling me Scotty the Kid or some shit like that. The stories about the Wild West and things like that we hear are mainly because history whittles things down to the gems, and the gems of that era were the Wild Bills, the Clantons, the McClowrys, you know, the Billy the Kids and things like that, right? The Wyatt Earps, like that's just what happens. That's just what happens. The day before OK Corral, people probably don't really remember much about it. The day after OK Corral, people probably don't remember that much about it. The day of OK Corral, people probably don't know what everybody had for breakfast this morning, but you know what? They know what happened at the OK Corral. So it's just, the point I'm trying to make is, like, you know, because as usual, I'm a little bit scatterbrained and I went off in a direction here. But the point that I'm trying to make is, like, people are not actually, like, that okay with just shooting each other. They would rather not fucking murder. They would rather not just kill people. It's something that you'd be surprised how easy it is for people to do it if they are forced to. But a lot of people don't feel that somebody stealing from them is them being forced to take a life. That's not how it works in a lot of people's minds. So the idea that, like, I need the law to tell me what is proportional response, what is a proportional response, is just fucking stupid. You know? It's evil speech. It's meant to manipulate. It's meant to make you second guess what is a perfectly reasonable response. But anyway, the event unfolded on November 20th, 2023, when a burglar broke into a social grocery shop, taking 3 bottles. A social grocery shop, I would assume that means a packy, a liquor store, right? The timing was unfortunate for the intruder, as a martial arts instructor was closing the nearby kickboxing club. The two crossed paths, resulting in a physical confrontation that left the burglar critically injured. The instructor was sentenced a year later. Accounts of the altercation varied. The instructor stated he acted in self-defense, claiming the burglar approached him with a weapon. According to him, a single strike to the burglar's head was necessary to neutralize the perceived threat. However, the situation escalated when the witness testimony and medical reports painted a different picture. The burglar, who admitted to the theft, reported losing consciousness after what he believed was a single blow. However, injuries suggested multiple impacts. A witness alleged that the instructor delivered a kick to the burglar's head after he was already on the ground, contradicting the instructor's claims. A court-ordered medical examination supported the witness's account, concluding the burglar had sustained at least 3 blows. The evidence became the cornerstone of the case, shifting the narrative from self-defense to excessive force. And again, there is no such thing as excessive force in this situation. Fucking according to the martial arts guy, nobody even actually nobody even refuted that the burglar came at the martial arts guy with a weapon of some kind, right? And when somebody has a weapon, you don't hit them once and hope that they're going to stop. You hit them until they're going to stop. And typically, you're not going to know that they've stopped until you throw another punch or kick or whatever, and they aren't moving, right? And I'm not like, don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you guys to beat the fuck out of people. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, in order to not be hurt, this guy did everything that he needed to do. There's nothing wrong with what that guy did on the level of somebody was coming at him with a weapon and he needed to make absolutely positively sure that whatever that weapon was, whether it was one of the bottles even, whatever that weapon was not going to end up doing damage to him. He did the right thing. But according to courts all around the world, I don't know where Ghent is, right? I'm curious where Ghent is. Give me a second. Give me a second. Ghent. Apparently it's Belgium. Right? Ghent in Belgium, or apparently it's pronounced Gant in English. Courts all over the world hold regular people to higher standards than they hold the police, you know? If the police beat the fuck out of a burglar, even if it wasn't in self-defense, even if it was just like the guy didn't go along with it quick enough, they would have been like, yeah, no, it's cool, yeah, it's all good, it's cool. But that's the thing, the police are a representation of the state. They're not even a representation, but a manifestation of the state. And because of that, the state is always going to allow them to do whatever the fuck they feel like all the time, unless it becomes politically unviable to do so, which is what happened in 2020 with the George Floyd situation. Regardless of how you feel or felt about what happened in 2020, fucking at the end of the day, the only reason why anything happened in so far as like the police or Derek Chauvin going to jail or anything like that, the only reason why anything like that happened is because it became politically unviable for what happened to be swept under the rug. You know, you can argue about whether it was justified, unjustified, whether Derek Chauvin knew what was going on. Like you can get into that argument. Fine, whatever, who cares? But the only reason why anything at all happened is because it became politically unviable. It became inconvenient for them to not do anything about it and be like, hey man, yeah, just give it a couple of weeks and we'll see you then, right? It just pisses me off, you know? And then in addition to that, right, the martial arts teacher was charged with voluntary assault resulting in illness or incapacity to work. The guy wasn't working in the first place. He was a fucking burglar. His sentence included 80 hours of community service, a $430 suspended fine, and $1 in symbolic damages to the burglar. And this is one of the biggest pieces of bullshit, and that's that anarcho-tyranny type shit. Where you have to say sorry to the guy who was victimizing you or somebody else. You know, you have to plead for the forgiveness of the guy who was trying to victimize people. You know, this is a great example of why you cannot depend on the system. You know, and if you're gonna do anything, you better hope that nobody has a camera out. And if somebody has a camera out, you better hope you were wearing your COVID mask, because you know they say no face, no case. They say that. I don't say that. They say that. Who's they? They. You know, them. They is them. So yeah, there's that. But you don't stick around, you don't tell on yourself by calling the police unless it's a situation that absolutely positively requires that, you know? If I fucking punched a dude and he fell on his ass and he was clearly like Mortal Kombat, like concussed but not unconscious and potentially dead, right? I wouldn't be calling the police. I wouldn't be calling him an ambulance. I'll let somebody else do that. I'm too worried about myself to be sticking around trying to deal with this guy who just tried to hurt me. I'm getting the fuck out of there. I'm running. I'm out of there. I'm out like the fucking Flash, you know? It's just bonkers, you know? It's just fucking insane, you know? Gay guy says, was looking at Reddit, God knows why. Well, it's because you're a gay guy. Just seeing the slop on there compared to a month ago is laughable. Oh yeah, I'm sure, you know. I started a podcast, right? And I'll be honest with you guys. I'm having a hard time with the podcast. Oh, excuse me. I'm having a hard time with the podcast, right? And the reason why is because I want it to be a current events podcast because that's, you know, one of the easier things that I could do. But the reason I'm having a hard time with it is because I stopped paying attention to current events around 2021, 2022, like late 2021, early to mid 2022 is when I stopped paying attention to current events. And I mean, like, I almost completely and totally checked out. Unless it was big enough as to where it would penetrate the little bubble that I formed around myself, had no fucking clue what was going on. I was not interested, right? I stopped watching all the dudes that I used to watch on YouTube who were based in red-pilled political content creators. Sargon of Akkad. Sargon of Akkad. Atheism is unstoppable. Based, red-pilled. Whoa. Right? I stopped watching those guys because I was just like, whatever. I don't want to hear about politics right now. Politics is bleak. Why would I want to hear about politics? You know? And I realized just how socialized we are to give a fuck about things that don't actually matter to us, right? Because, like, up until that point, I was always aware of what was going on in the world. I always knew, you know, what was in the news. I always knew what the Democrats felt, what the Republicans felt, all this stuff. I had an opinion on a lot of different fucking things. And then I stopped. I was like, no, I'm avoiding this stuff now. And now I don't know how to get back in. I straight up have no fucking clue how to even do it. I'm sitting here looking around like, so where do I get my news? I know it's fucking bullshit. I know all these guys are full of shit. And even if I don't think they're full of shit, like, how do I even start watching them again? I don't have the time or the energy for that anymore, dude. Fuck, like, what do I do, you know? So I'm actually having a hard time with the podcast because of that. But I think the easiest one, right? I think the easiest one that I could make is talking about Trump and you know, how I feel about him, how he really makes me feel, how my heart aches for him, how I long for him, I yearn for him when I'm in bed. When I'm cuddling with my wife, I like to pretend it's him. I like to pretend I'm cuddling with the 45th and 47th president of the United States, Donald John Trump. I like to pretend that Melania is out in the kitchen making us grilled cheese. No, but like you know, I went so hard into that joke that I just was like, oh, what the fuck was I even talking about? What? Huh? What was I talking? Oh yeah, like, you know, I could talk about like Trump, you know, and the inauguration and stuff like that. I could talk about like what I hope for the next 4 years, and you know, what I think was interesting about his last presidency and how I hope he improves on it. That's probably what I'm gonna end up doing for my next podcast. I'll probably do that tomorrow or like Friday. I'll record that, you know. But that's specifically for. That's specifically for my patrons. Every now and again, I'm going to put one on YouTube. I apologize. I don't think any of you guys that are watching right now are my members, my YouTube members. But I'm going to be talking about stuff that I am not necessarily going to want to take a chance on when it comes to you know, when it comes to YouTube and stuff like that. Excuse me. And then in addition to that, I'm going to be talking about it in a way that's like, you know, fucking, it is what it is. Where's the... Trying to find my, you know what? I know what I can do. I can't find my drafts on my, my desktop. I can only find drafts on Twitter when I'm when I am you know, when I'm on my phone, which is annoying. Nah, I don't even need to talk about that. Fine. All Def member up or whatever for a podcast. I should have already watched most of your stuff. Haha. Thank you very much, gay guy. Yeah, it's patreon.com/Scott Sullivan. Yep, there it is. I'll go ahead and I'll post it in here just to oh yeah, control. Yes. Just in case any of you guys are curious, I'm also going to continue trying to work on other stuff from there too. But that is what it is. The first episode that was released little under 2 weeks ago, I believe it was a little under 2 weeks ago. It's me talking about MGTOW as a topic, men going their own way, which is a kind of a men's movement, if you could even call it that. It's more like a philosophy that a lot of men have taken up, if you will. But talking about MGTOW, there's a bunch of stuff that I want to talk about, but like interspersed with that is going to be mostly current events type shit is what it's going to end up being. Hold on one sec. I like this isn't a bad stream by any means. It's not like everything's all fucked up, It's not like it's not like everything's all fucked up. It's not like I'm unable to make points and stuff like that. It's just it's like I said, I've been so busy over the last couple of weeks, and then in addition to that, I'm kind of beat up because I'm back to work now. I'm back to work, so now that I'm doing more physical activity again, specifically that type of physical activity, I'm a little, I'm a little bit tired. I'm a little bit fucked up, and because of that, I'm having a hard time with this stream. But thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. And by next week, I should be all good. I should be adjusted, so I'm not going to be as like. Ugh. But then in addition to that, I'm also going to, I'm going to be a little bit better prepared. $5 tier, Patreon acquired. Thank you very much, gay guy. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate that. Thank you. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. I have to watch The Sopranos, which I know that's not from The Sopranos, right? I know it's one of the guys from The Sopranos, like doing an impression of somebody from, I think, The Godfather, maybe. I could be wrong about that one, but I gotta watch The Sopranos anyway. This comparison won't make any sense, but I imagine how angry people get when a comedian tells a fake joke on stage as if it matters in any way. People intake politics. For what reason? Yeah. You see, when you don't have problems, or when you don't have problems that you feel like you can do anything about, you start to look for things that you can be mad about that you feel like will either A, replace your lack of problems with something to fight for, right? Or it is something that will have an effect on your problems, right? And it becomes this weird thing where, you see these like champagne socialist children who they're college educated, their parents lived in nice towns in nice neighborhoods and nice houses. They made six figures each. A lot of the time, it's not just they made six figures combined. It was they both individually made six figures, right? You see these people who like they don't have anything to fight for. They don't have anything going on that is a real struggle or anything like that, and because of that, they look for struggle without even realizing it, right? And a lot of the time, it can come down to somebody who is feeling a little bit guilty because they've had it so easy, while other people have had it a lot harder. And they don't realize that a lot of the time people have it hard, not because they were unlucky, but simply because they just like fucked themselves into a situation, that is the vast majority of things. Like my life has become so easy compared to how it used to be, even though there's a lot of fucking bullshit that I have to deal with on a daily basis. There's not nearly as much turmoil as there used to be back when I was in my late teens to early 20s, because I don't create complications for myself. A lot of people create complications for themselves, and because of that, they're fucked up. And it's funny because these people, right, the champagne socialists, going back to them, they're almost creating complications for themselves, but not in the way that these other people are. These other people are creating complications for themselves that keep them down. The champagne socialists create complications that are fun for them. It's a game to them. I've seen the way Antifa people are. A lot of them are just there because they have nothing better to do, and this is fun for them, right? That's just kind of the way that it is. They feel like they're Mr. Antifa super soldier and shit like that, you know? It's really a social club for them, if anything. Now, the other side of that are people who they have issues that they simply cannot do anything about immediately because either A, they are in a bad headspace to be able to do anything about it, or there's just some other thing, you know, like the housing market, for instance, right? Buying a house is cost prohibitive. There's a lot of people out there who cannot buy houses because they simply don't make the amount of money that they need to be able to. I don't think it is as bad as people say it is, but it's still pretty fucking bad. It's still pretty damn bad. If you've ever tried to get a mortgage, which I have, I've been trying to get a mortgage for a little bit, and the only thing keeping me from it is me. Like, literally, I'm like, the way things have been going for me, they keep asking me for certain things that I can't provide because I was out of work for a while, right? But, like, I got, like, chances are I'm going to get pre-approved for a certain amount of money. Like, people will work with you and they'll work for you to try and get you the money because they get paid to do that. But that's something else, right? The bottom line is, like, there's people out there who feel powerless, and as a result, their answer is some kind of boogaloo situation. You know, that's where accelerationists come from. I watched this 5-part series from this chick on YouTube. Not even YouTube, excuse me, Twitter. She's on Twitter. Her name's like Bex something. Not our Bex. Not our Bex, but it's like a BX. Oh, BX underscore on X, you know. This is like, as someone who's done a little bit of diving into this topic, right? I found it to be interesting. This is a 5-part series from this chick, right, about 09A and you know, certain other things and stuff like that. I find it to be very interesting. Actually, my 09A guy, like the dude that I interviewed a little while ago, Kian, right? If you look up my interview with Interzone Analysis, right? If you go to my channel and look up Interzone or Interzone Analysis, you'll see my interview with him. Fucking, like, you know, it's an interesting topic to me, and I like to deep dive into it whenever I can, right? Like, she talks about accelerationists in this, right? Because a lot of 09A guys are accelerationists in one form or another. You know, and there's right wingers that are accelerationists. Like, the reason why they are like that is because instead of thinking, hey, why don't I take care of my problems, they think, well, if civilization collapses, I won't have the problems anymore. I won't have to worry about not being able to afford a house if civilization collapses and there is no more fucking money to buy houses with. You know? What's stopping me from owning a house when civilization collapses and I grab a gun and I go into somebody's house and I take it from them? What's stopping me? That's literally where that shit comes from. Is like, instead of taking a shower, I'd rather fight a war. That's literally how a lot of these people are. Excuse me. You know, a lot of these people quite literally would rather be like, oh, yeah, let's the West is fallen, millions must die, billions must die, and it's all because I don't want to have to lose some weight. And it's funny too because they're sitting there simultaneously saying the West is fallen, billions must die because they don't want to lose weight, and they're assuming that they wouldn't be one of the guys dead. It's just funny to see that. It's just funny to see that shit, you know. Oh, man. I can't remember anymore. Is there TTS here? Are there dono toys or whatever done with? Any goals or meters? Nothing right now. I could make something like that, you know? I could make something like that. I still have the... oh, nope. That's for something else. Yeah. I still have fish toys on and stuff like that. But, you know, it felt a little weird having them on, knowing that I wasn't streaming on the Fish Tank site, you know. But I could do donation tiers and stuff like that, you know. Like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I don't want to call them fish toys because fucking fish toys was specifically for the Fish Tank site, and to my understanding, to my knowledge, there is no streaming on the Fish Tank site. I haven't actually been to the Fish Tank site in a minute. Oh yeah, I forgot. There's games now. There's fucking games now. There's oh damn. Fucking Ball Bros Bounce, Peyton Punch, Luke Defense, Vampire Blood games coming soon. Oh shit. Yo, that one's gonna be crazy. I hope I'm in that one. That'd be pretty cool. Let's say hello to everyone. Anyway. Well, maybe we'll play these on Friday. We'll play these on Friday. I'd rather dedicate a whole thing to these. But yeah, fucking, you know, there's the stream widget thing is there, you know, but I don't actually like we obviously are not really able to stream. No live streams. So that's Dave, Bert, and who are these two? Is that supposed to be is that Binks? And is that supposed to be Alex? I'm not sure. What's going on, babe? No, you have to watch The Sopranos 5 times in a row. That's what I'll have to. That's what I'll have to do. If we were 100 years into a Blade Runner dystopia, I'd understand, but it's so fucking dramatic, man. LOL, I'm with you. Yeah, like, not all hope is lost. And that's another thing that I'm going to do for my podcast is I'm going to talk about, like, hey, if you really want change, in the world, the way to do this is, you know, like if you want to change things, like, and again, this is why I would dedicate a podcast to it. I also just remembered that I fucking said hello in the Fish Tank chat, and I'm like, oh fuck, like damn, people are saying hello to me, and I'm just ignoring them. But anyway, I'd like to dedicate a podcast to it because even though it's not the most complicated topic, I have a lot of things that I could say about it. And I have spoken about it a little bit in the past. When it comes to groups like Patriot Front and stuff like that, right? And I hesitate to talk about groups and stuff like that because there's really no point in acknowledging those guys, not in like a personal way. I don't have anything personally against those guys, but I don't think joining a group like them is a good idea because even if you are 100% sure that Thomas, the leader, is not a Fed, how can you tell that he doesn't have Feds around him? You know, it's kind of a situation like that. And then in addition to that, you're just opening yourself up to get fucked over. You're opening yourself up to get fucked over by law enforcement, regardless of the status of these guys. Because I've seen the criticisms of them, and I don't think they're 100% fair. Right? But like regardless, like joining a group like that is kind of a pointless endeavor to a degree because at the end of the day, like no amount of marching is going to fix anything. Oh shit. Yo, Lil Majok. Yo, holy fuck, it's Lil Majok. Oh shit. He ain't so little anymore. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, what was I gonna say? But yeah, but bottom line, like joining a group like that, I don't have anything against them, like, particularly. However, like, when you join a group like that, you're not doing anything that's going to legitimately move the needle. Moving the needle is actually what Sam talked about, which is getting into the system in whatever way you can and undermining it, right? He talked about what to do if you're like at a fucking IT thing and the company starts fucking around. It's like, well, you know, figure out a way to make it benefit you, right? Figure out a way to make it benefit you and not benefit them. It's funny because like Sam, I think what he has to say is extremely important. And it's not even necessarily just what he has to say, but it's the way he's able to say it, because he's someone who his livelihood does not depend on him being Mr. Based red pilled YouTuber. So I think that he's not gonna at least as easily fall into the trap that a lot of these guys fall into, like say a Matt Walsh, who he constantly has to wine and dine his base, the people who watch him all the time. He always has to say things and do things that are going to make them be like, haha, yeah. And that's where that whole thing where he was saying, oh, just get a job at Chipotle, the H-1B issue is not a big deal, just get a job at Chipotle, right? He was saying that because he was trying to say something that was going to keep him relevant in this new conversation that was being had. But then not only that, it was going to keep him in the good graces of the people that pay his fucking rent. That's literally what it was. I think Sam is not going to have that problem because Sam is pretty much already good to go. He's like, you know, crypto millionaire type shit. And then he also has other endeavors that I'm sure are going to make him a lot more money than sitting in front of a camera talking about politics and stuff like that, right? But what is even more important about it is the fact that he is able to stay level-headed and talk from a pragmatic point of view about what is actually going to fix things, you know? And I'm not trying to sit here and ride coattails or anything like that. And I'm also not trying to suck my friend's dick or anything like that. Like, you know, fucking, he's a guy just doing his thing just like I am. But, I think there is a certain brilliance that's going to occur because he's going to be saying things that are 100% true that a lot of people don't say, not because it's like, not because it's too spicy, it's too hot of a take, but simply because a lot of people are emotional and a lot of people are trying their best to make money. Okay. Like for instance, to actually give you an example, right? The way to win is not carrying signs. It's not running around, you know, trying to red pill mom and dad or anything like that. That's not the way to win. The way to win is to try and make the world work for you to the best of your ability. And, you know, one of the ways that that happens is he actually ended up telling someone, hey, we need more white guy judges. We need more white guy judges. He literally said that in his Dear Vivek video. That's a great example, right? You win not via running around talking about accelerationism. You don't win by being a fucking weirdo that can't be brought anywhere because you don't shower and you can't stop naming certain ethnic groups and stuff like that. You don't win that way. In fact, you lose that way. And that's why that's so prevalent, is because it's taking the anger of people and making it misguided. It's guiding people down a wrong path, an incorrect path, right? At the end of the day, what's going to help you win is getting a good job, being an upstanding member of your community, and trying to create good things if you are a creative type, right? That's why I did I don't know, I don't even know where I put it, right? But I released a design on my Teespring, right? Sorry, one sec. Right? I released this design on my Teespring, right? This was my attempt to add to that. Now, do I expect people to buy this? No. Like I'm terrible. I'm terrible at selling myself. And because of that, I don't constantly fucking always put this everywhere. I should do what I did with the Sensei Scott stuff, and I should take a screenshot and put it on my fucking screen right here. That's what I should do, but I keep forgetting to do that. I created this little thing, right? And it's not just this. It's you know, It's this too, right? I created this specifically because I wanted to create something that maybe a Christian sees it and they're like, oh, that's really fucking cool. I like that. I'm going to buy that, right? Now, you might think it's not the greatest thing ever. I'm not necessarily creative in the way that I'm going to, like, you know, start a fucking revolution via a t-shirt brand, right? But there are people out there who are. There are people out there who are real fucking creative. And when it comes down to it, yeah, like they'll create something that is Christian coded, to use the fucking Zoomer language again, right? That is actually really good, you know? That's what Jet and Ben are doing. They're not doing it explicitly because they're like, we want a Christian prank reality show. That's not what they're doing. But you'll notice little things sprinkled in there, i.e., you know, you notice little bits and pieces sprinkled into Fish Tank. You know, I don't need to list them off and stuff like that. I'm sure you guys understand, but instead of being like cringe and you know, globalist in nature, they're just not, you know. And they don't have to hold signs. They don't have to fucking you know, try and red pill their grandma on fucking the Brazilian question. They don't have to do that. They just don't, right? All they have to do is just live their lives and try and be worthwhile and like create stuff that people are going to want to watch and see, you know? I'm kind of stumbling through this point because it's a point that excuse me. It's not something that I was 100% prepared to speak about, right? But overall, like, there's a lot of people out there who they are disenfranchised and they don't know what to do. And part of the reason they're disenfranchised is because they are just not worthwhile in the first place. There's something about them that is really hard to be around. It's really hard to be around these people. And because of things like that, because they are hard to be around, it just makes it worse, right? Because here's the thing, like, yeah, being a straight white male today is something that, you know, you have all sides of society bearing down on you, telling you you're bad, you're evil, you're this, you're that, the other thing. But at the end of the day, like, if you go to the grocery store, chances are you're not going to get called a cracker, right? That's just the way it is. If you go to the DMV, no one's gonna be like, straight white males to the back of the line, sir. I know you waited an hour already, but there's a sassy, wise black woman a couple of spots behind you. We're gonna let her cut you, and actually you're gonna have to go to the back of the line now. Like, that's not happening. You know, what happens a lot of the time is people take general things that aren't affecting them immediately in the world, right? Things that, like, yeah, they might run into it at some point, but it's not affecting them right now. And before they even deal with it, they like start to defeat themselves. They become defeated by what they see happening in the world, not even to them right in that moment. Like I said, just in the world in general. And because of that, they, like I said, they stop showering. They get fat. Not that I'm that skinny, but you get the idea. They forget how to talk to people. They forget how to not have a one-track mind about what's going on in the world. They forget to have hobbies and things that make them normal. And because of that, it only makes it worse, which then in turn justifies the treatment according to the people who are treating them that way, right? Like, there is nothing the feminists, there is nothing the people who hate white people, there's nothing these weird, like, commie leftists, these race communist leftists, there's nothing they love more than a white dude who has shitty social skills and is bad about it. There's nothing they love more than that, even though they profess to hate it. The reason why is because it gives them something to hate. It gives them a good reason to hate you, right? If you're sitting here, you go to a bar and fucking, they already are like, oh, straight white male. But then in addition to that, you're also unsightly, you're unkempt, and you have like negative charisma in any and every situation that you're in, to the point where it's like you can't stop naming the Brazilians and stuff like that. You can't stop saying Silva and fucking Barboza. You can't stop. You just can't stop naming them. They just keep slipping out. Barboza, Silva, fucking Oliveira, right? They just keep slipping out. Can't stop. Like, they love that low key. They profess to hate it, but they love it because it gives them a reason to feel like they are correct, and it gives them a reason to mistreat you, right? All you're doing when you fight somebody like that is putting a target on your back. The best thing you can do is be the opposite of what they're claiming that you are. And then in addition to that, what also makes it good is that when you are the opposite of what they claim you are, people sit here, they listen to them describe you, and then they turn around and they take a look at you and they're like, that's not what I see. The guy actually seems like he's an alright dude. You know? That's not what I thought. That's weird. You're making him out to be like he's a gargoyle. This dude just seems like a normal fucking guy. I don't know, maybe you're the weirdo and I should listen to him, right? That's the way that type of shit works. That's the way that the hippies did things. And not necessarily even the hippies, but when I say the hippies, what I mean is like the left-wing movement of the last however many decades, because it was really the hippies that like pushed that after, you know. It was like the hippie movement, and then they got into power in terms of like, you know, college, you know, college teaching gigs and certain other situations. And you know, because of that, because they took over the culture, they were able to make everybody but them look like fucking idiots. Excuse me, fucking idiots at best. And at worst, they made them look evil. You know, like the term right wing, for instance, right? The term right wing has a negative connotation to it, to the point where like people don't even realize the inherent bias they have towards that word, right? When you say the word right wing, people typically take it as, oh, this guy is bad or this thing is bad, right? Meanwhile, left wing, for one thing, a lot of people don't even like consider the term left wing a lot of the time. But when they do, they tend to conjure up. They tend to conjure up thoughts and pictures and representations of like someone who, even if they're a little weird, even if they're like a bleeding heart or something like that, they have everyone's best intention in mind, you know. Somebody who wants to save the whales, somebody who wants to save the environment because the environment's totally collapsing. Somebody who's for the people, man. They're for the people, dude. People, not profits, man. Like, that's the type of thing that happens. And that's not because hippies were running around with signs. That's because hippies were getting jobs at the institutions that shape our world. And because of that, when my generation and also Gen X were growing up, we were indoctrinated to believe that anything right-wing was bad, that anything conservative was bad, you know? I only just now came around to someone like Richard Nixon, right? Only just now did I start coming around to Richard Nixon as like not a bad president. And it's because I listened to the guy fucking speak. Hold up. So, let's see this, right? So the Nixon Foundation, right? Just a quick little thing, right?
Do they take advantage of their knowledge that we're for peace?
Or whenever they possibly can. They, for example, took advantage of President Carter. Now, President Carter is no silly, sappy dove. He had a good service background in the Navy. He's a good, strong person, in my view. But he felt that if he could only convince the Russians by unilaterally cutting back on our arms programs, that we were for peace, as he put it in his famous Notre Dame speech, that they would do likewise. In other words, follow the golden rule with them. Well, he cut back on the B-1, and he cut back on the Minuteman III production line, and he delayed the cruise missile and the MX missile and so forth. And what did the Russians do? As we cut back, they built up. That was the unilateral approach. It didn't work. Fortunately, At least as far as our defense program was concerned, Afghanistan opened his eyes and he turned around. But let us clearly understand, we have tried that way, the way of trying to convince the Russians by our restraint that we are for peace, that we are for disarmament. And all they do is take advantage of it.
Do they take advantage?
Yeah, like right. So, I'm looking for something specific here.
Perhaps we should ask.
All right, one sec. Oh yeah, okay, okay, right. So like that was the real Richard Nixon. Look at the way that he's would you look at that? Would you hold on. Would you look at that? You're gonna see like a caricature of Nixon as envisioned by the creators of this cartoon here, which is a very good cartoon. It's called God, the Devil, and Bob. I actually really like this cartoon. But
who's gone soft? You wouldn't believe who gets in here these days.
You snooze, you lose.
So like that was supposed to be Richard Nixon, right? And the joke here was that Richard Nixon deserved to be in hell, but he got into heaven because God's gone soft, right? What did Richard Nixon do? Fucking, he tried to end the Vietnam War. He successfully did, right, for one thing. But then, in addition to that, fucking, what, some guys broke into a hotel and he may have known about it? Possibly. Potentially. Meanwhile, you have fucking politicians who are like, confirmably, it is confirmable that they were hanging out with Epstein, right? And I said pretty much the exact same thing the last time I talked about Nixon, right? But Nixon is a really good example, right? Nixon is a really good example, right? Here's a little bit more Richard Nixon in this thing. Richard Nixon is a great example of how the far left controlled the institutions, therefore they were able to control your perception of certain people, even if it's just simply not true. And it's not just that they're controlling it insofar as like it's a strong arm, big brother, you will think this guy's bad or else we're gonna gulag you. No, literally, like, if you think this guy is good, well, you're lame, sort of way, right?
I'll take him.
I'm all packed. Let's roll.
No. I thought I made it clear the first time this came up. I don't want him in hell. It's not fair to my other guests.
Oh, sure. You take JFK in a minute. Everybody loves Kennedy. You know he's still getting women up here. The angels think it's charming. I ask for one extra dessert, and there's greedy Dick Nixon stuffing his face with apple brown Betty. Where are you going?
Me? Nowhere. I was just... Oh, look, a communist.
Where?
You see, like, that's supposed to be Richard Nixon. Haha, he Watergate. Haha, he's an idiot. He doesn't know how to talk. Oh, oh man, you hear his dumb voice. Haha. It's just the way you win, right? The way you win is not by carrying signs or like even getting angry. The way you win is by staying calm and just trying your best to like make the best of the situation that you're in. And it's by trying to get institutional control in some way, shape, or form. That just is what it is, you know? And I think that's something that I hope Sam talks about that, you know? I don't want to bother the guy or anything like that, you know? Fucking, I don't know what direction he's going in. I know Fish Tank is Fish Tank, and he's going to be involved in Fish Tank. But I don't know if I'm going to be involved in Fish Tank, and I don't know if I'm going to be, like, hanging around this guy a ton. He doesn't seem like he's doing a lot of boxing lately, right? But like that is one thing that I seriously hope he speaks about is if you want to win, it's not by doing like dumb shit like that. It's by making yourself so capable, making yourself so learned, making yourself so so good just in general. at whatever you're doing, whatever it is that matters to you, whatever it is you need to do, like making yourself useful as well. That one, it's harder for people to chop you down, because when you're sitting here and that like weird leftist in town is like, yeah, he's a fascist, people are gonna be like, what are you talking about? He helped me shovel my driveway. He's a nice guy. Fuck you, right? They're gonna do and say shit like that. But then, in addition to that, if you're an effective person, if you know 2 languages and you're not a fucking asshole about it, you know, if you're interesting, if you're fun to be around, if you have things that people want you around for, then it's going to be a lot harder for somebody to kick you out in the first place. And then in addition to that, more people are going to listen to you, which means you can create more change. You can affect more things, you know? Like I said, I'm kind of waffling about it. I'm also in the piss zone right now. I'm in fucking, you know, the yellow, right? But I'm about to get out of here. That's why you know, that's why I'm not like too worried about it. But you guys get what I'm saying, you know? You guys get what I'm saying. Be likable. Yeah, but it goes beyond just being likable, because it's not enough to just be likable. There's a lot of people I know that are likable, but they have like no talent, you know? They're good at schmoozing people, but they have no talent. And like, as important as being likable is, you do have to have a modicum of talent. That's something that I don't think Sam really touched upon as deeply as he could have. A lot of people don't get jobs because of talent. They get jobs because they're likable, but also the talent aspect of it is not to be overlooked, because as much as somebody is likable, well, you're not going to hire somebody who absolutely positively knows nothing about what you're doing, right? Even if they're likable, they might even be so likable you're like, fuck, dude, I want to find a reason to keep this guy around, but I can't have him running my fucking servers. If I can't have this dude trying to maintain my servers if he has no clue what a fucking space bar is. You know, if he thought the space bar is where astronauts go to get drunk, you know, like, I can't have that. But you know what? I like this guy. Maybe I'll be his pal. Maybe I'll find something for him. Maybe I'll keep an eye out and I'll try to hell, maybe I'll try and teach him something, right? Like, skill is important. Skill is extremely, extremely important. But skills without likability is like, you know, it's not great. It's not great. I'm not the most likable guy, you know. I'm very quiet. I'm not constantly fixing to be the center of attention, you know. People tend to get me wrong about a lot of things, you know. I happen to think that there's a lot of people out there that are just shitty, and that's part of the reason why they get me wrong, is because they're trying to find a way they can manipulate me, and it's hard to, because I'm not constantly putting myself out there to be manipulated. And then on top of that, I also have a habit of not letting people have their bullshit. It's important to let people have their bullshit. You have to be able to let someone just talk and be like, yeah, cool, sounds cool, man. Anyway, moving on. You can't always be like, you really believe that? What do you fuck? Like, what? Huh? What? That's the Boston in me. That's the Boston in me. In New England, if someone says some bullshit, you're like, shut up. What the fuck are you talking about? Get out of here, right? But like, as somebody who's not particularly likable, right? Yeah, like, it is very important, but also, like, you do need skill. Being likable without skill is not good enough. Being skilled without being likable is also not good enough. You know, you need to have a balance. You need to have a balance. But anyway, I gotta get out of here. All right, I gotta get out of here. I appreciate you guys. Right, thank you for being here. All right, thank you so much. Sorry if this was a little bit like I said, I'm a little bit fucked up these last couple of weeks. I should be back on track. If not Friday, then next week. You know, I'll be used to my schedule again. Excuse me, I'm getting tired here, but you know, yeah. So I'll catch you guys later. All right, peace out.